take off.
Good morning, everybody. Sorry to be a little late. There was a train.
Train.
A train. Now, I tried everything to get here on time, but I just couldn't make it. So let's pause and let's think about this a little bit because it relates to the question we got. And the question we got was from somebody who's, a knowledgeable professional who's really struggling with someone living with dementia who is consistently peeing in a sink. Now, I'm sorry for those of you out there with delicate constitutions. It's early morning, and I just took a very intimate body interaction with the world and shared it. So if I had said eat, well, it wouldn't matter what I said. If it's something that's intimate and I'm talking about it in public space, some folks get real uncomfortable. Other people get real curious. And some of us are like really practical, like, yeah, that happens. So, this individual, Matthew, sounds like they've worked on it for a while and they're sort of frustrated.
Yeah, and Teepa, it sounded like too that they actually started to dive deeper into who this person is, because we don't know if it's a he or she, who this person is. And actually, no, wait, I take that back. I'm sorry. Fake news. We know it's a him.
It's a he because of the situation. So there was enough information that we know it's a he. So already my brain with my background says, oh, so we have an unzip, flip, drip, rezip, and you're done. So it means for me as a stakeholder, because I'm already going to my, you know what? I need to pull out I'm going to pull out my resource and I'm going to pull out my care partner guide, my dementia guide, and I'm going to pull up my 6 pieces of the puzzle. Because we've got a challenging situation. Someone peeing in the sink is not something anybody actually wants to have happen, especially if it's a mutually used sink, or even if it isn't, it creates new challenges perhaps, or, I wonder if he's a neat peer. I don't know. Anyway, let's go to the person and the stakeholder. So we have a person living with the brain changes of dementia, and he is doing something. And what he's doing is peeing in the wrong place. Consistently, it sounds like.
Yeah, especially in the afternoons.
And
then that seems to be when he gets more restless too, in the afternoon.
Okay. So, all right. So now I need to ask the question. And this is what happened with the train. So I want to make the connection to the train thing. By the time I realized a train was coming, I had already bypassed 2 different places I could have turned off to get to work a different way, because I didn't think about the schedule and the fact that it's Thursday, and that on Thursdays at a certain time frame, there's a train that runs from Raleigh to Charlotte that goes through where I live, and it blocks, it has the rails down to keep everybody safe, but it blocks it for a while because it's both, there are 2 trains. There's the passenger train, which is relatively quick, called the Carolinian, but there's a second train, which is a transport train that comes right behind the Carolinian, and it's long. So it has lots of...
and so it's wait time. Lots of wait time, yeah.
I had missed the part about time in my puzzle. And so I was in the regular space, because that's regularly the way I come. But unfortunately, my brain forgot. Like, I was busy thinking about getting here, doing some other things. I had a lot of things happening. And I just forgot until I bypassed 2 other options that this was the morning at this particular time. It has to be a certain window that I'm going to hit that thing down. And it takes a while.
Yeah.
And there are cars behind me, in front of me. At that point, I've tried everything.
You have, yeah.
Yeah. So, but the challenge is I didn't do enough thinking before I got to that place.
Yeah, it wasn't like the front of your mind. It wasn't in the front of your mind.
Until it became a problem. Until the peeing in the sink's happening. So this is a situation where I'm wondering, I really do want to find out and check time. Does this happen truly all the time, or does it, because it happens frequently, it feels like he does this all the time? In fact, he does it from about this time to this time.
So narrowing in on,
and where does he pee other times? Or does he pee other times?
And so we're trying to figure out how can we narrow in exactly what are the time frames, like if we can, that this is happening, and does he actually go somewhere else? So that sounds like the environment card potentially too.
And then I add the environment, like, is this truly the only place he goes? Or is it dependent on a little bit on time and on how he's doing and what else has been happening around him, which goes back to environment. I also want to know right away, how much sight line is there from the door where you enter the space to the sink versus the door to the toilet?
Oh, yeah.
Because my first thought would be, what if environmental. I'm still thinking environment. I'm wondering if we've tried everything. If we put one of those, doctor's office where you get dressed behind the screen.
Yeah.
If we put one of those screens in front and then put an arrow with a toilet, pee there, pee this way, and then put a big thing down into the open toilet, if indeed, but it's dependent on what is the sight line there.
So Teepa, it sounds like what you're saying is we could cover up the visual of the sink, and we could put a visual of a toilet, and have that be what can help to direct. Because if I'm
with an arrow on that block that says pee this way, if he's okay, so now I got to step back and figure out. What am I showing here, Matthew?
Yeah, we got our gem state card.
Yeah, so I've got to figure out gem state. Now, we'll go back to over time during the day, during the afternoon. It sounds like his gem state changes.
Yeah, it definitely sounds like from what they're saying in the afternoon, that's when we start to see a shift.
So more ruby-like or amber-like than emerald or diamond-like.
Yeah.
It's not going to be pearl because he'd be immobile. So it's definitely either ruby or amber.
Yeah, because we're missing.
And I guess, I want to go back to his skill. I want to find out his skill. When he does pee, is it pretty neat or is it messy? I mean, is it sort of in the vague direction? I mean, because I would say you got to be pretty skilled in most places to pee in a sink. I mean, I'm just saying. Or is it in the area of the sink?
Yeah.
Okay. Then Matthew, I'm going to ask you a question. How many places have you been, not at home, but in other places, that urinals are provided for males?
Oh man. I mean, I feel like a good number of places where there is a urinal and then there's the toilet right to the side. That's
right. Why do you sit on why do you go to the toilet if there's urinals?
If somebody's there, right? If somebody is taking that urinal, if there's more people who can go in there, but that's the only reason. Otherwise, you don't typically go into.
Otherwise, you can face the wall.
Yeah, go to the wall.
In the urinal, standing up, right?
Oh yeah, and sometimes they're right next to the sink too, like literally right.
They're right next to the sink. So you pee in the urinal, wash your hands. Hopefully, who knows?
Yeah.
But hopefully. So what I want to find out a little bit more, how skilled or unskilled. Okay, so if he's doing that, I have another environmental option. What if I actually put something like just in front of the sink and I provide a urinal-y type situation where he could pee in that instead? I mean, is this public? I mean, we got to go back. Stakeholders. Who else uses this bathroom besides him?
Yeah, does he have a roommate or something else? Which we don't know that. We don't know if he has.
Yeah, we don't. Yeah, so who all's involved in the particular? Is he peeing in a particular bathroom or any bathroom that's available? Like it sounds like moving around more in the environment, and he sees a urinal and goes and pees in it. So then I go back to timing and health changes along with the brain changes and say, what if he was led to a bathroom with a urinal, if there is one?
Oh. Yeah,
what if you started going to a bathroom with a urinal, if there is, or a bathroom with a toilet, but it's scheduled. It says, hey, Matthew, come on, let's go down. Hey, Matthew, why don't you go ahead and take a leak? And then I would turn on the water faucet.
Yeah, because that would help. That auditory piece could help me then in that moment be like, okay, and then that's when I can relieve myself and not end up in that place like you were saying where oops, I'm here, I need to go. Well, this is what's here.
Yeah. So we're talking about recognizing in someone living with dementia brain plasticity, not brain deterioration.
Yeah.
We're talking about brain plasticity, the ability to create new opportunities for the brain to function and to use what's there and to use it in a slightly different way versus that part of the brain isn't working. So now we have to do something else. And I guess worst case scenario for me is trying to restrict his ability to pee in any form or fashion, because getting urine out of a human body is a super important thing to do. Super important. So we need to figure out ways urine gets out comfortably for somebody, if at all humanly possible. And so we want to start investigating what are some other options for us. I mean, I've certainly used trash cans lined with a trash can liner and put kitty litter in the bottom, because some of these new kitty litters are really amazing. And some of them actually recognize, look, there's something wrong with this kitty. And I wonder if even, changing alkaline, looking at the, how much is he drinking? How much in the afternoon is he drinking? How strong is his urine getting? I mean, we could look at some of the medical side, but it seems to me that I'm really curious about some of the other side.
Mm-hmm.
I would even propose, wonder if there's a little garden area that could be protected where you could go outside and have him pee in something outside when he's roaming about. I mean, because guys are taught when you can't get to a bathroom, pee outside. So finding solutions that don't restrict him, but guide him or support him or redirect or direct, getting him to the place you want him to go. Because I've tried to get away from that redirect to attract. We want to attract him to something that makes sense. So I'm going to pause because I want to, like investigate, and then I've got to use my pipes. I've got to do a little prep work here. I've got to figure out who I want to look at prepare myself. Who's involved? Where is it going to take place? What kind of props are we going to have? What kind of programming do I need to put in place? And are there other possibilities I'm not thinking of that I may need to think of? So I'm going to use my pipes with my 5 Ps to kick this baby off, because I don't want to Lone Ranger it. I want to bring people into communication and appreciation. And then I want to read a little more about Amber, Ruby. I may want to do a little more with hand under hand guidance. I may want to really make sure that we're on board with, like, when does this start and what else is happening? I mean, there's lots of questions. So, I mean, indeed, the person may have truly tried all this already. And so now this is like not helpful. Or it could be by getting somebody to think, well, oh, yeah, wait a minute, it's Thursday. Hang on, what time? Oh, okay, so I probably don't want to go that way. Let me try another direction from the very beginning. Doesn't mean I wouldn't have been late anyway, but it means I wouldn't have got stuck in a place where I thought there's nothing else I can do. I'm really stuck here. I will say what I did do is call Matthew and let him know I'd uh-oh'd and that I'd be here as quick as I could. So I apologize for lateness, but I also think it gave me an opportunity to consider what we were going to talk about and what happens to all of us at one point or another. We get in a stuck space and we think there's no other way out. And then we have to remember, phone a friend. So I'm really glad that our friend raised her hand or his hand and said, I have an issue. I have a question. I'm wondering if you could help me. Because we do appreciate when people do that, because it gives us a chance to consider alternatives and not blame dementia or the people who live with it or ourselves. It was an uh-oh. So we have a chance to learn. Matthew?
Yeah, thank you, Teepa. And I really like how you brought in this piece of the visuals and noticing those parts too, because it sounded like you said, they've been trying a lot of different things. They looked at his activities, his past, what he did for a job, what were his routines before. So they were really starting to get curious.
They looked at the person. They did a really good job looking at the person. Yeah.
So now that idea of bringing in the environment, bringing in the time, bringing in a little bit, because they were bringing, the stakeholders were in there. They were trying some different things with that information that they had, but now we have some new puzzle pieces to really explore.
So Matthew, one final idea. If you told me he was like somebody who worked in the trades and he wore an overall.
Oh,
I
yeah.
would say, you know what? Maybe go back to the overall with the zipper in the front, because guess what I'm going to see has starting to happen when he's getting ready to use the bathroom.
Yeah, he might start doing something like that, like he's trying to get it.
Because now it's not just unzip, flip. It is unzip. And so I'm going to get a wider, like, oh, hey, let me intervene here. Hey, John, looks like you're ready to go. Hey, tell you what, come with me. Here it is right down here. What I would also say is that is super different than putting a zipper up the back of somebody who can't get out of it. That's a restraint. I want to be super clear about that. I can get it to where it's more challenging to get to your place where you want to do it. And I don't tend to recommend that as a first line unless somebody has a strong background in that. But what I do recommend is getting more curious and more supportive of possibilities. Okay, everybody, take care of yourself and take care with your care. See you soon.
Thanks, Teepa. Bye, everybody.